Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the English news from Djibouti channel. They are the top stories of our edition tonight. The headlines of our editions are opening of a workshop to assist people with disabilities in education systems. On continental news, an announced agreement with withdrawal of forces in Hodeidah. Welcome if you join us on TV, on Djibouti channel. The Interior Minister wants to reassure the Djiboutian population that it's against unfounded rumors of possible terrorist threats circulating recently on social networks. It informed the population that the security of property and people throughout the national territory is ensured and is usual condition. The risk of terrorist actions exists as everywhere in the world, but our security and defense force remain vigilant to counter all the threats that are about to disturb the tranquility and stability of our country. The Prime Minister, Mr. Abdulqadir Kamil Mohammed, received today in the VIP launch of the Prime Minister on Monday, February, the Advisor Africa President of the French Republic, Emmanuel Macron, introduced by the Ambassador of France in Djibouti, Christophe Guillou. The meeting between the Prime Minister and the Advisors Africa of the Elysee was held in the presence of the Secretary General of the Prime Minister, Mr. Naguib Abdullah, and the Prime Minister's Chief of Staff, Mr. Yusuf Awlad Farah, and the Prime Minister's Advisor, Mr. Ali Silai. The topics of discussions between the two men focus on bilateral relations between the two countries. Now, without mentioning that historic partnership, Mr. Abdulqadir Kamil Mohammed mentioned the support of France in several areas, including defense. Faced with the consistent evaluations of the internet and the emergence of the social web, the popularity of the media is losing ground. Through the RTD, like all the others planetary channels, has to face many changes in terms of use technology, but also demographic and economic development. Some evils are directly related to digital. This is why the RTD has decided to adapt a strategy to the new televisual landscape in the profound digital transformations, with the official launch today of its new interactive portal and its application. This application is the cornerstone of the digital strategy of the RTD, which gives innovation services to viewers through its main TV and radio channels. The Minister of National Education and Vocational Training today sponsored a certificate ceremony for some 600 young people who received the 6 months of professional English training at the Oxford Institute for Training and Consultancy. Several personalities took part in this ceremony, including Mr. Mohammed Abdullahi Wahai, Secretary General of the Presidency, Mr. Roble Mohammed Ali, as well as the Director of Oxford Institute and Training and Consultancy, Senior Executive, and officials of the Ministry of Education. The 600 young people who have successfully completed their training. This training initiated by the President of the Republic, His Excellency Mr. Ismail Omar Gila, during a meeting debate with the youth of Djibouti in March 2018, which was responsible for organizing this training. The Minister of National Education and Vocational, Mr. Mustafa Mohammed Mahmoud, also said that he was proud to raise for their effort. He stressed the importance of professional English in the labor market and did not fail to pay tribute to the head of state, who has always given priority to youth to facilitate their professional integrations. The Court of Auditors met in solemn audience yesterday in the courtroom of the Financial Court. They even saw the participation of the Minister of Justice and Prisons Affairs in charge of Human Rights, Mr. Mumin Ahmed Sheikh, and all the magistrates. The purpose of the formal hearing was to review the activities of the past year on the one hand, and to announce the strategic orientations and outlines of its controls program. On the other hand, the audit office carried out around 20 audits, the result of which was the productions of 2 public reports, in addition to report of the executions of the Finance Act. After the Dukum locality visited on Friday, the Minister of National Education and Vocational Training and his colleague, the Minister of Delegated to Decentralizations, namely the Prefect, Mr. Abdul Malik Mohammed Bunoit, and the President of the regions, and as well as executives and officials of 2 ministers travel the headland in the days of Saturday. I highlighted UNICEF representative Mrs. Janabo, who also chairs the local group of education partners, joined the tour in every remote locations on the high and all the food on mountain Musa Ali, natural borders between our countries and immediate neighbors. For his part, during his speech, the Minister delegated to decentralizations, Mr. Hamid Mohammed Aramis, thanked the population for the disruptions. He specified that the Djiboutian government is solidary in all the action carried out for the profit of the population. He emphasized the roadmap of the President of the Republic, His Excellency Mr. Ismail Omar Guelleh, in the field of decentralization, which aims to improve the living conditions of entire population throughout the countries. The workshop to support people with disabilities in education system opened this morning at the Higher Institute of Health Science. The workshop was placed under the sponsorship of the Minister of Higher Education and Research, Dr. Nabil Mohammed Ahmed, with the participations of Duale Saeed Mahmoud, Director General of the National Disabilities Agency, the head of the relevant ministerial department, and the Director Health Training Center and Health Simulations Center of the French Red Cross, Mr. Mohamed Abdurrahman. The main objectives of the workshop is to improve and secure the schooling process for people with disabilities. The Minister of Higher Education and Research, Mr. Nabil Mohammed Ahmed, welcomed the organizations of this workshop and thanked this privileged partner of the accompaniment of people with specific needs. The Minister of Health convened all hospital directors and central directors as part of a preparatory meeting for the national workshop on integrated malaria responses. Also noteworthy that the participation of Secretary General Dr. Salah Benoita, malaria program managers, and other cross-cutting program who took part in this foundation, following the recent peaks of the notification of malaria that have been recorded at the level of health infrastructure. On continental news, today the main entry point for import and international humanitarian aid arriving in Yemen after lengthy but constructive discussions. The 2 rival parties finalized an agreement on the first phase of the mutual redeployment of forces, but also reached an agreement in principle of the second phase. The UN said in a statement specifying, however, no date has been set for the withdrawal. Here we finish our editions and English editions tonight. Thank you for watching us. Goodbye and have a good night.